Hi, marketers. This is Dots, and welcome to the Marketing Leadership Podcast. I have the pleasure here of speaking to Anu Adegbola, founder and CMO at PPC Live UK. We will discuss the demand and supply of paid search. I know you guys are ready, so let's do it. Anu, welcome. How are you doing?
I am very well, thank you. Thank you
Or
very much
or
for having me.
do I say Anu?
You're Nigerian. You should know how to say my name. I shouldn't. You don't need to
Absolutely.
correct you on this one.
Absolutely. It's really an honor having you. Thank you so much for joining this. Yeah, we've been trying to make this work for a while, and I'm indeed really excited to go on. But for those who don't know you, you want to tell us about yourself, your role, what you're doing, and how you've done so well. Please feel free to blow your horn.
That's that. I find that quite hard to do. I tend to just tell my story as it is. And thankfully, so far, a lot of people have found that impressive. Sometimes surprisingly, the way people have found it impressive because I've just kept going in the PPC industry. That's just what I feel the story of my journey is. The headline of my story is someone who just kept going, and tried to find new opportunities and tried to apply myself as well as possible. Because yeah, like about 2008, it started the digital marketing journey for me. I did a little stint in SEO, but my main passion was quickly, I realized, paid search, like about
Uh,
6 months into my career. And started with agencies, started with different brands. I've done some freelancing, and that was with some mix of agencies and freelancers. And then I started working with some tech companies, and I would do some consultancy for click tech solutions as well. But like in about like my proudest moments
yeah.
has been in the past about like let's say 18 months or so, where in about July of 2022, I decided that the PPC industry could do with a networking event, like a PPC networking event where we come together, we talk about the issues we have of the day, because especially during the COVID years where we were all stuck at home, as an extrovert, that really, oh, I was really dying to be like, oh, chat with people, get involved with people. So I did a lot of
Yeah.
that online. And even like when I came across this a Twitter community called PPC Chat, that we now do our chats on Slack, but we would do come together every Tuesday, 5 p.m. UK time, 12 midday Eastern time, US, to have a chat about what's going on in paid search. And for a couple of years, week after week, there was always a new topic to talk about, a new aspect to talk about. So when we came out of COVID and it was like, okay, it's only, I mean, we could go to in-person events again. I was really only seeing SEO events to go to. And even
Mm.
like the PPC events, there was this one that was used to happen once every year in the UK. The price point was about £1,000+ kind of thing, or like £1,600. And I was like, where is the accessible networking event? There's a fun environment where pizza experts just come together to talk, eat some food, have a bit of a drink, have a good time talking
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
issues, and just talk about putting the platforms, holding them to a higher standard. They take a lot of our money year in, year out. We're like, how well are they actually doing in ensuring that we can do our jobs well? So that's how PPC Live UK started off. And yeah, I started off with an event every 2 months. That became a bit like, yeah, hard pressed to really
Yeah.
put
It's
efficiently. So I moved it to every 3 months. And yeah, it's exciting. Still doing well there. Our next event is in a couple of weeks, 1st of February. And yeah, just excited with the response of it. People are really excited about it, really like coming to it. And it has now extended to having a community. So we have a WhatsApp group that has 500 over 570 members even, the Slack channel, Slack group as well, our LinkedIn. The people are very supportive about what they're doing and all the like the different social media platforms. The community is growing. The community is growing rapidly and faster than I ever thought it
yeah, but
would.
that's it too. Yeah.
It's no longer a side hustle. It is very much
The
a
main
now.
awesome.
It's a main hustle. It's a business. Click Tech Hour, the company I said I'm doing consultancy with, are so excited to partner with me on it as well. And yeah, I just see it growing from strength to strength.
Yeah, it's a lot to manage events and things like that. I'm starting to like attend events, maybe speak at some myself, so I can really get what you mean. But just to extract more value from that experience, especially on the event side, what's what are some of the feedback that you've seen over the years now, I think over the years, from say attendees or members? Are they now less paranoid about how ad platforms use their money? And what are some of those, I guess, I don't know if the word testimonials, I'm just like general feedback to say, by attending this forum, I they have so takeaways, and you could give us, I don't know, your top two takeaways from most people.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been really great to see, especially there's several of people who have been coming from the first event and have attended all 8 events. It's actually like, for me, that's the biggest testimonial. Repeat
Mm,
customers. Or
mm,
some the
mm,
person who just keeps coming back, and I'm like, they're definitely finding something useful out of this. I'm
mhm.
obviously, pulling up the right speakers to talk to them. They're obviously like, they find the location I'm good, because those are all the different aspects you have to think about. And especially for me, vacation has always been like, every
Mm,
event, I'm thinking, have I got it right? Have I got it right? Who do I need to speak to about getting a good event and at affordable rates, in as central of London as we can, so that it's accessible to everybody, So those have been some like really great feedback that we've gotten. And um, about what people are seeing, whether people are becoming less paranoid of the platforms. I wouldn't say less paranoid, but for us, it's not paranoia. I'd say a lot of what has been paranoia in the past
mhm.
has not been like, okay, it isn't paranoia. Another agency is feeling the same issues, having the same issues I'm having. It's not just me that thinks costs is going up. Every other
Mhm.
people are talking about costs going up. It's not just me that thinks, Google support is not great. Yeah, it's okay. Other people
Thanks for
also,
mentioning that.
they just
You know your onions.
do.
Google support. Oh my God.
Everything you're thinking Google support is not great. So we've switched from
Mm.
paranoia to, oh, I'm not paranoid. I'm not crazy. Some of those issues that I'm having, it's not just me. Other people are having it, because we're bringing the people together. People are discussing it, AI. Oh, AI advancement happened,
Mm.
And what's the one paranoia that I do want us to help with? So the event is helping with dispelling the paranoia. That's what I'd say it's
Okay.
really
Okay.
doing. It's about dispelling the paranoia. It's about, but also realizing that, yeah, some of the paranoia is non-founded. Like, especially the whole, is AI going to take our jobs? Our paid search managers useless now, going to be useless very soon. Heck no.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're going to be doing some rebranding very soon. In fact, by the time this comes out, you'll probably will be favored the new brand, which is, we're going to turn to PPC Live, because the aim for this year is to expand and not make it just
Yeah.
a
Not make it
UK.
PPC Live UK. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Like, yeah, so one thing that was very specific, that my rebound designer, he suggested, that we put as the tag on one of the banners, is like, real people, real problems, real solutions. And I was like, yes, because I was thinking, should I change it? Does that make sense? I hope I'm not, I hope that's not copywriting from everybody. And I was like, actually, it's true, because everybody's talking about AI, 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 AI. We need AI.
Mm,
AI is going to
mm,
take over job. And I'm like, no, 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 real people. We're going to be real people here having real problems, real solutions, and how people are still at the center of what we need to do. Understanding customers
mhm.
is going to be really at the center of what we need to do, on, being able to understand what levers that need to be pulled, what AI levers need to be pulled, what data that needs to be served into there. To be able to understand empathy, tone of voice, those kind of things. AI has
Mm.
got a long way to go to be able to
Yeah.
understand those things that humans are going to need to understand. So, yeah, I think that's one thing that I've been doing so far. The events has been positive of doing so far, and I want to do more of in the coming events.
And I know some of the things that your events have tackled, especially with regards to this topic of demand and supply in pay search, or that model. is, being able to educate people around it, right? So I don't know if whether it's in your experience or through conversations, um, you have seen folks who say, for example, programmatic advertising is only for the big boys. When I started to learn about it, that was my feeling. And I think when walking through those means, you could actually see that it's almost like, it's for the big boys kind of a thing. But I think that is changing. I think, and whatever technology that programmatic is based on, is being seeded into every form of ad placement out there. And I might be wrong. Feel free to disagree with me. But for those people who are listening that might have heard of the word programmatic, um, whether it's programmatic display, programmatic search, some people just use the word programmatic as it were in PPC. Is it really something that the everyday PPC manager can get familiar with, or is just it's still something for the big boys?
With full transparency, I've not had much experience in programmatic. Now, that doesn't mean that's not a good question. I think I've dealt with some. I have really good friends who are working programmatic, and they are very. I even know a lady who's specializing in getting people to learn more about programmatic, but also doing it for small businesses. So my instinct is to say, no, I don't think programmatic is just for the big boys. But in everything with paid search, whether it's programmatic display or search campaign or shopping, etc., test it. Don't write anything off till you've given it enough, till you've got enough budget to test it out and see whether the data shows the value that channel could be for you. So let the data lead your strategy. I let the data just
That's a very interesting thought. And sorry to cut you there, but how much would you recommend a business starting out should allocate to as I think people will call it their lab budget? I think every business of every size should have a lab budget, and finding a company like Listen Network where you have to test and work on the ad tech that fires the download conversion. You have to run a lot of tests. There will be some failures, and we are doing all that out of pocket. How much would you say? Okay, let me see. A startup has £1,000. How much of that £1,000 should be dedicated to testing? Month on month, always on.
Yeah, like I'd say always on should be about, I'd say 70 to 80%, and I'll be like, it's about 20% should be towards testing budget. But then as well as we know, well, I hope that your listeners know that digital advertising is expensive, is not cheap. So you have £1,000 budget. That sounds like you have 0% for testing. Like that £1,000 budget is not going to get you. Like I know, like even speaking from my personal experience in terms of with PPC Live, in terms of the marketing and advertising I'm doing, I'm very much on an organic basis at the moment. I've not got enough budget to be doing the kind of like paid media that with the kind of results I'll desire to come out of it. That'll be effective in terms of growth. That budget is not there. I mean, yeah, soon by the grace of God, but not at the moment, I'd say.
No, I mean, so honestly, I think most of the PPC specialists I've spoken to often say, make sure you try as much as possible to verify your Ross Simmons, we had him on the podcast, content to market fit. I call it products to market fit from an organic perspective as much as possible. Some people would say, and I'm talking about PPC folks, we had one recently that said, start with SEO if you can, do all the house cleaning, see what you can get from there, and then whatever works, build on that with paid search. So it makes a lot of sense to think, it was back in the day, and that was when I was talking about programmatic, because if I feel a few of these things are overrated, I'm not so involved in programmatic anymore, but better part of 2023, I was. There's a lot of administrative things, hefty fees that are sometimes unnecessary. Maybe programmatic allows you to target in different ways, but Other ad channels have made that a bit flexible. And I think AI is, AI in LinkedIn, AI in Meta, AI in Google is now making things even simpler for people. And we'll probably, touch on that later. But yeah, it's basically just trying to test your channel. And I think paid search is slowly becoming easier. It's not really about, oh yeah, the big boys, if we have the money, spend it. But
I will.
they are,
Sorry, I have to jump in and correct you there. PPC is not easier. It's
no, I mean, there,
easier.
there's a bit of how do I put it, mentality, because recently LinkedIn also just, so what they do is this: some of the targeting options are now being slowly removed
Mm-hmm.
because AI can easily, so for the biggest example is similar audiences or audience
Mm-hmm.
expansion, slowly being removed because AI now can find the audiences for you and things like that. And a few people that are experts, I've been doing it for a while as well, are a bit upset because there are nuances when you market,
Mm-hmm.
and those nuances are taken away because AI, they feel, is going to do everything. So there are two sides to it. There are people that are saying, well, I don't have to do all these hectic settings that the experts do because, I can just run I think Meta calls it Advantage Plus campaign, and it just finds the audiences for me through AI. But if you are like people like yourself, you'll be very upset because now it's very hard to get quality leads because quality comes with control, right? You
Mm-hmm.
once you control a situation, you might get the best out of it. That's sort of the, I guess, school of thought. Do you want to reevaluate? Are you do you still, is there a context there? You can please feel free to clarify.
It's and now I was just thinking, this is the point of my events. This kind of discussion. I might actually bring it up in the event, and the
Please,
next event,
please.
like we talked about this, and to see the different points of view, because a lot of these points of view, you get 10 people giving you 10 different answers for like whether it's easier or not, about
Mm-hmm.
whether you
Mm-hmm.
just just give Google or Facebook or whatever your landing page and just be like, yeah, this is the type of campaign, run it, and whether that's good enough and whether you get the right leads.
Yeah.
One thing that is prevalent is that all this AI and automation really doesn't work for small businesses because
Mm-hmm.
for the machine learning to do machine. Oh, sorry, we interchange the machine learning AI. So the people who are listening to me who know better, apologies if I do that wrong.
Mm,
But
that's okay.
like it's like you need to give the machine as much data as possible, and small businesses don't
They
have
don't have
that.
anything. Yeah,
They don't have
that's
enough
true.
data, so they still need to do things a bit manually. They still need to break things up. And one thing that one of a friend and a colleague in our community particularly said recently that I loved is the fact that before you start doing paid media and start paying for the clicks coming
Mm.
to your site, figure out what your landing page conversion rate is. Figure out whether when people land, they're landing to the right space. So try to do that
Mm-hmm.
organically. So try to actually send organic traffic to really figure out how good your landing page is, how good like the conversion rate is, or and even figure out what that conversion rate is so that you know what the baseline is. That's how you really figure out a good baseline. Don't pay for it yet. See what organic traffic thinks of the website you've put together so that when you start paying for the traffic, you really have a good benchmark to actually know, yeah, this paid search channel, this paid media channel is not working for me. And sometimes AI just, it's not easy for just AI to know what a good conversion rate is. Like it really does require testing. It does require, and then it will have
Yeah.
a different factors to that. So it's really, that's why unfortunately I say that, yeah, this is one of those topics that requires a discussion from between more than two people, because I don't necessarily have the
Yeah,
answer.
because AI, and I'm happy that you're saying that because AI is going to is going to keep going and rising, and they're still going to release new stuff in 2024. So my guess is that there's still going to be a lot of things that would happen. But some of the things that I also worry about, and I'd like to get your take on this, is the audience research perspective, and that was sort of what you started with, small businesses that have nothing to start with. Um, from, again, back to the demand and supply. I don't know if we've been enjoying this chat. I don't know if we've given you the opportunity to actually explain what demand and supply in PPC means. So maybe you can also explain that and explain how that helps in audience research for PPC. I still think audience research is very fuzzy for a lot of people out there. People just think all I need to do is go to uh, uh keyword planner or something like that. But I feel there's so much more involved in that. But I would like to get your own perspective from that, like they say, the demand and supply model, and see if there's a way we could improve the way we approach audience research for PPC.
Um, yeah, like for anyone, like for any person, we know that paid search people are on Google a lot. Google has a lot of pull. We are in the world where search is synonymous with Google. It's Google it that we
Mm,
use as phrase, isn't
mm,
it? Instead of
mm,
search for it. So the demand is there. The demand for people wanting for you to find them on, or you to provide what they're looking for on Google is absolutely there. It might not be for every single brand, but it's
mm,
and it's also part of a journey. It's not
mm,
it is and it's so you also need to make sure that you are feeding the consumer at the right places at the right time. Sometimes it's not even you might not it might not be a place where you can be present even. Like sometimes a touch point is somebody talking to their brother or their sister or their niece or their nephew about a brand. And then, that enters their head. How do you get involved in there? And then someone you go or maybe see a TV ad and then you see something, a display ad while the person you're browsing something else, and then you do a Google search kind of thing. So there is very much like an ecosystem where paid search fits in, that you need to make
mm,
sure that you're being present at the right time as much as possible without it being annoying, without it being too repetitive, at the right time. And then, you then have to then figure out, the supply is all about figuring out how much you bug people, how much is enough. And you won't know that straight away. It's like it happens over time. You do testing, you do frequency cap, test
mm,
different caps of
mm,
your ads, whether it's like search or display, kind of words. And you that's how you do audience exclusions kind of stuff, do different audience exclusions, making sure you're not showing too repetitively, and have different strategy for new visitors as opposed to repeat visitors. All those kind of separations and models you have to make sure that you keep in line to ensure that you are showing up at the right place, but not too often.
mm,
And especially because there are loads of like different ways to show up, different channels that are popping up as well, especially in the social media sphere. And what I always say is that don't necessarily be the one that just jumps on the bandwagon because a new
yes.
is out there. Actually, and what's even more important than your marketing strategy is your business strategy and knowing your audience, knowing that audience research. Your audience might be on TikTok, but they might not want to be buying your product on TikTok. They might not want to be seeing your product. It could be their downtime, alone time. The amount of time people say that, oh, YouTube. Oh, once you interrupt my YouTube viewing with a skippable ad, number one, I'll skip it straight away. And number two, I'm less
Yeah.
likely to buy your product. That is very much unknown. There's something that I've seen in loads of places. So work for some brands because hey, people are still
Yeah.
doing YouTube advertising. So obviously it's working in some way. So you've just got to be
Mm.
careful about where you're being present. Um, but be present. But know how the presence needs to be.
I like what all these things are great, and I like the fact that it emphasizes the point of testing, right? I like what you said about people are on TikTok, but they may not be buying on TikTok. I don't know if you are aware of this recent, people make news out of everything these days, but it's good. Snoop Dogg's campaign about the smoking stove, and the
I'm
fact
quitting
that the
start
campaign,
smoking. Yeah.
yeah, it's not, it didn't buy or sell. My own take on that, I'm not a news jack person, but it's good to sometimes throw some of these stories in. It will probably last for a few years. Is
Mhm.
that um from a targeting perspective, they probably made this mistake you just described. They felt that people were on certain channels and then they just pour a lot of money into that and it didn't work. Sometimes it may not necessarily be about the creative itself. I
Mm,
personally, I think everything needs to be fine, but I personally think people are obsessed over certain things than others, one of them
mm,
being the creative. People are
mm,
not so focused on the placement itself. So you mentioned YouTube, very correct. People don't know that there are certain things called outstream YouTube ads that
mhm,
actually still show you the same video, but not as an in-stream, as an
mm,
outstream that you find yourself, and then you can
mm,
easily consume that content.
mhm,
People are not so aware that in paid social, this nice thing you mentioned about frequency cap is very hard to do, even though they
mm.
made it easy on the Google side. And it's so easy that people don't even do it a
Yeah,
lot. I'm a huge fan of frequency cap. Oh
yeah,
my god, especially for non-search campaigns, and
yeah, yeah. It's
it's
important.
for me it's one impression a day. It could be one view per day, one click per day, depending on whatever you want to do. But if you're listening, please just listen to what Anu said about uh frequency cap, because it's very, very key. But also look at the strategy, look at the nuances within the channels, look at the way ads can serve. Yeah, focus on your creative for sure, but most times it's always how the ads are served. And yeah, maybe there's still, even though with AI, I think there's still a lot out there that makes PPC very hard to implement, because you have to consider all these things. Frequency
Right.
campaign is one of a million things in PPC that you need to consider,
Mm,
and so on and so forth. So it's just important to test, and we have a benchmark here. 20% of your budget should be for testing.
I
And
agree.
I will say the last thing before we go on a commercial break here. It's, as a marketer, you are often tempted to want to defend your point of view or your perspective. You have an hypothesis, you are ready to defend it with your life, with your bonuses if you're on the client side. Um, and sometimes things don't go the way you want. I think
Yeah.
it's important for us, from a mindset perspective, to accept that. Again, with my work on Listen Network, I've seen a lot of that happen. As a strategist, you often want to defend your stuff. You often want to prove a point. They make it worse. Extroverted or introverted Nigerian with all the confidence in the world, you know. Um, but things don't go the way you want. They'll be like, guys, I need to accept that this is not working. We need to pivot. You
Yeah.
need to make course corrections. So
Yeah.
that's why I think testing is really, really important.
Absolutely.
And giving 20, people have different benchmarks on what to test with. I think 20% is a decent maximum
Mm,
for testing, and then you can scale with the rest of the project. Guys, you see how this is going on the podcast episode. This is how we do it on the Marketing Leadership Podcast. A lot of nice back and forth, agreements, disagreements, cohesion. I've forgotten the name of the word now, but this is how you get value on this podcast. I don't say this doesn't happen on any other podcast, but this is what we have tried to focus on, as when it comes to knowledge sharing, especially when it's free. And because it's free, please share. Please share this episode with your friend. It's okay if you want to like, it's okay if you want to review, it's okay if you want to comment or whatever. But sharing is the most important thing for me, because when you share, somebody else gets to see that, and if that person says it's a small business, then he or she can learn from what Anu is saying when it comes to scaling your business with paid social, especially in the demand supply aspect, which Anu had also sufficiently described. So thank you so much for that. I have one more question for Anu, but before then is the dots rapid fire. Anu is very strong and fiery and dynamite, so she should be able to survive the fire.
hello.
But let's give her a let's let let's give her a 30-second commercial break just to prepare. So we'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. It's the Marketing Leadership Podcast. Stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. So, like I said, it's the dot rapid fire, and we've got 3 questions. So I know you say the truth and nothing but the truth. Are you ready?
So help me God.
Okay. So, number one, what is your best marketing metric or
AOV.
favorite? I don't want to use. Okay, what did you
Yeah,
say
let's
again?
say more like the my favorite one, average order value, because it's not
Mm,
just about the conversion and how much you sell. It's about the value
mm,
of what you're and of what you're buying, and the click is not leading to the right valued um products. It's not a worthwhile click. So average order value.
Yeah, that's I love that KPI as much as well. It's an ingredient of lifetime value, even though some people don't use it in the calculation. They often use cost per acquisition,
Mm,
but average order value, average contract value on the PP on the B2B side, yeah, yeah, it's just a very key um indicator, and sometimes it gives you a bit of an indication of churn. So if that person
yeah.
is willing to invest a lot in you, it will take what they call the switching cost for them to churn, and they would not churn. Not to say they will never churn, but they would probably wait longer than they should with
Okay.
you. So I completely agree with you on that. Okay. Second one, how long do you use social media every day?
You're gonna embarrass me.
Yeah.
Okay, one
Maybe
percent.
not, depending on what your answer is.
Can I say, because I use social media for work as well?
Yes, absolutely.
It's like
Absolutely.
that. I work in,
Of course,
I'm yeah, I use PPC. I do like
you connect with
promotion,
people.
PPC Live. I do a lot of personal branding on
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
yeah, yeah.
Post Instagram posts for PPC Live on, and that kind of on Facebook and on that kind of post on Twitter. It's several hours a day. I wouldn't probably like 4 hours a day. God. And I'm
Yeah, yeah,
probably
yeah, in the middle.
I've
Yeah,
never
in
measured
the
it. Never measured it. So I'm probably wrong, but
yeah, 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 yeah.
average.
The most common is 1 hour. Yeah, we've got a few 4 hours, like yourself. We've had some people do 7 hours, and that's because they're either like salespeople or like maybe
Sure. Okay.
LinkedIn
Yeah.
is their, I don't know.
LinkedIn
But there's
outreach.
also that personal branding thing. It's working a lot these days. Not the
You need to
topic for
check the engagement, see whether the likes are coming in or the comments are coming in,
yeah. You know what's funny is that marketers are like we almost feel impervious to our own advertising. But the truth is that we are all victims of it. If I make a post,
Absolutely.
I want to know if people liked it, even though I do that
Absolutely.
for other people. So
Yeah. They're like
that's
vanity metrics, guys. It's not even, you don't worry about going viral. And then you post something that as it got viral.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, how are
yeah,
you
yeah,
doing, guys?
yeah.
All of
You're,
it.
you're
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
not alone. You're not alone.
Self-care.
So
Not
it's
just
all of us. Now it's okay. Last question on the rapid fire. What is your favorite marketing quote?
oh, it changes every day.
What's the latest one?
It changes every day. Oh Lord. Trying to think. I'm not necessarily good on the quotes. Quotes that I usually have are like personal one,
Yeah, you
for
can
like
get
personal
business,
lifestyle.
a business quote.
And I'm going to social media for this. You guys are seeing
Eh,
a sucker for I'm literally about to get on my board to be like, what was the latest quote that I liked?
that you
What I did. Like somebody wrote, what gets celebrated gets repeated. And that can be done for like marketing. And for me, it's more in the aspect of like, you know, if you want, even like in marketing teams,
hmm
in like leadership,
yeah,
in the
yeah,
marketing, like,
yeah, yeah.
if you
Marketing
want them to
leadership,
do
like the
more of
podcast name.
something, yeah, yeah, exactly. Leadership is all part of marketing and everything. So a little bit of a tangent to like lateral thinking here. But like if you're always belittling or being like not done enough, if they're not going to repeat the good tasks that they're doing. They're just going to feel that they're being put down on. And I think it's very important that no matter how small the thing is, for it to get bigger, praise it when it's small. When someone makes a little effort, Be like, amazing. That's what I want to see more of. Great job. Well done. Thank you. Those kind of things for the little things are very important. And you know what? Isn't that what even testing is all about? We test something small. We see the right results, we do more of it. We
Yeah,
get the right
exactly.
result, we do more of it. We get the right result, we do more of it. So it's all what life is about. Praise the little thing and effort that someone does, and they will do more of it.
I like that. Even though most of us adults would say, "Oh, that's just for toddlers, 4-year-olds," but
Yeah,
adults,
no,
adults even are more. It's just
being
that we don't
needed.
cry out about it,
Yeah,
but we are
yeah,
more attached to that. And and I said something about marketers always liking to defend their work. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
Okay, last question before I let you go. Um, let's say you are dealing with a brand that has money, from where we come from, of
Dream
course
client, yes.
we both come from the same Nigerian tribe as well. They say somebody who has eaten and is full. When you have brands like that that have eaten and are very full, you sometimes use the word belly full. They have
Develop
so
food,
they have so much marketing budgets, they have the millions. I
more money
feel
than sense. Sense, very simple.
which is exactly my question. Sometimes the money just causes some chaos in a way, because it's about you trying to justify the money, by creating a lot of activity on the PPC side and running some ads that are probably not needed, and just trying to go over sophisticated when simplicity is what you need.
Mhm.
Um, and then sometimes people don't leverage automation as well. So what do you know about automation in PPC in general, and how we can make things very efficient, when you are scaling advertising in general?
What do I know about automation? That's literally what I feel like it was the foundation of my whole career. Like
Wow,
I'm
right.
the kind of person that I call myself efficiently lazy.
Love
Because
it.
if you can do a task if you can find an automated way to do a task that could take 3 hours in 10 minutes, why not find a 10-minute way of doing it than 3 hour way of doing the same task,
Yeah.
quickly. I'm from the beginning of my career, I've always loved, like using rules, using like, yeah, setting up scripts, good AdWords scripts. So you quickly do that kind of things, like pull a report for me. I love putting templates, Excel templates together. I've done talks on doing
Mhm.
just how do you do a template, and making sure that now that task that at one time used to take you 3 hours because of a template. Every week it will run it. You can just dump data in somewhere back end. Boom, you've got your report in 10 minutes, kind of thing. So big fan about like the automation kind of thing. I'll go back to a thought that I said earlier on about, like in terms of if it's a client that has too much money and it's growing, you're trying to use automation, think about the ecosystem. Think about the
Mm,
ecosystem of digital marketing. Think about
mm,
the ecosystem of the business, right? At the end of the day, we're trying to drive revenue and, profits, even more important than revenue, profits for the client. It's not about PPC profit. It's not about
mhm.
SEO profit. It's not about
Yeah.
email marketing profit. It's about the business's
Business
profit.
profit. Yeah.
And with paid search especially, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of other channels will agree with me, channel like practitioners will agree with me that you can get to a point of diminishing return where no matter how much
Yes.
money you're chucking into the channel, it's there. It's just staying there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The money is going, but the results is not coming. So you're plateauing. You're plateauing in
Mhm,
terms of performance, and
mhm,
that's where you really now have to think. Let's move the money somewhere else. We want growth. And most businesses are all about growth. It might be from 2% growth to 100% growth, and rapid growth to like general, gentle growth. Whichever business kind of it, growth is where success lies. And if you're just chucking in more money to a channel because you have more money than sense, and it's
mm.
not,
More money
it's
than
not gaining
sense.
any growth, as a paid set practitioner, you're being a disservice to your client if you don't advise and say, "Hey guys, we've reached diminishing return. We need to try something new." And that's where you start. That's where testing budgets. thrives. And that's why
Yeah.
with those kind of people, maybe you make testing budget 30% even, because obviously they have all the money in the world. So you may say like, guys, okay, this area is working well. This always on is growing for us. Okay, let's move. We have extra spend that is not, we cannot add to what we're doing because it's not going to add any more growth. Let's add that to the testing. Let's test Pinterest. Let's test Quora. Let's test Reddit. Let's test all these like new brands. There are different ads, like loads of different like smaller brands that are doing paid media, giving paid media models that you can test. They might not have gotten as far ahead in terms of like their sophistication or what platform or like the reach, but you'd be surprised as to how well you can do and all that, those kind of areas. So yeah, it's talking about talk to the brand about the ecosystem and new areas of testing.
I like that. I like the honing on diminishing returns. Demand and supply hitting market saturation. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
So it's although people sometimes love it initially because it's now predictable. The word predictable is something that everyone wants to get to, but you just get to a point whereby, guys, I think we need to diversify, which is I think the word you're trying to get to there. So very, very, very important points in answering an automation question, which is very Anu, I know we could go on and on here, but it's been an amazing chat with you on this. And, this is really how we like the podcast episodes to go. Very, very thoughtful, episodes. Where can people learn more about you and find more and follow you, to learn more about the stuff, the things that we often don't consider in paid media marketing?
So as you guys embarrassingly know, I'm on social media a lot. There's no getting away from that. I am, my daily bread is what I would call it, is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where I know what I'm doing. I feel like I know what I'm doing on LinkedIn. The other social channels, I kind of test and learn. I do a lot of testing and learning, but LinkedIn, solid on there. Anu Adegbola, the name that you just search for my name, you'll find me there. Talking about, paid media, how we do it with integrity, just doing these discussions about how people are testing things, finding things, whether it's broad match or, automatic, recommendation, automatically applied recommendations that everybody hates, or maybe some people don't, support skills. I like bringing the discussions in on LinkedIn a lot. And PPC Live too has a profile there. So would really appreciate checking that out and giving it a company follow. And then we also have, I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook. I am in and out of Twitter because Twitter is a little bit, since
It's
Mr.
now
Musk.
very X.
Oh, yeah, we go. Thank you for showing my picture there of the is that our LinkedIn, my LinkedIn profile? Oh, I appreciate it. And whatchamacallit, brain freeze. Threads. Threads is a new one that I actually like being on. So much, loads of lovely real people, but always the marketing Anu is where you'll find me on all of those profiles on most social media, and especially Threads and PPC Live UK as well on most social media.
Absolutely. So guys, of course, as you see, this episode was initially built around search, but the lines are blurring in the industry right now. Search is social is search. So if you don't mind us, talking about some of the other platforms there, I'm sure there's still a lot for you to learn anyway. And with that comes the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening and watching. More of this can be found at dotslovesmarketing.com. So that's dotslovesmarketing.com. And also, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube. Just search the Marketing Leadership Podcast, and hopefully, I should be there ranking somewhere in the top 3. I'd like to thank Descree, Content Allies, and Listen Network for all their support. Till next time, connect the dots.
Thank you for listening to the Marketing Leadership Podcast, brought to you by Listen Network. There will be links to resources mentioned in today's show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star review and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.